All right, Shalom, Shalom, Brakat Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elder bishops here at Great Millstone. Shalom to you, brothers, pushing the work in truth with all sincerity. Okay, this lesson is pretty much a follow up to a lesson I did concerning this guy, torched this warehouse, and we were pretty much just paying close attention to what he said, and he pretty much said, you should have paid them enough to live, and we all know that as this place is falling, people are, becoming more violent, becoming more desperate, you know, and as the scripture said, the love of many shall wax cold, and we live in those times where, people are just going to be doing things. Um, and these are, isolated events. All right. These are just the regular Joe Schmo working class, citizens who pretty much fed up. This is apart from, the generated crises, which we know, are being done by the elite to bring in order at Kale. But you're going to have people who are lone wolves, you know, I wouldn't call them accelerationists, but in the sense they are, adding fuel to the fire, no pun intended. So these times, the time that we live in now, you're going to see a lot more volatile, more violent people, more crazy people, crazy, right? Matthew 24:12. And it says here, and because iniquity shall abound. We live in a world they're going to continue to do evil and wickedness. We're not going to see any balance as far as, um, some good here. The only good thing that's happening is the Lord fulfilling, his prophecy. Okay. So you're going to see more evil. All right. You're going to see more tyranny, more corruption, all of those things before any good come. All right. And as we see more of that, people are just going to lose it. It says the love of many shall wax cold. Okay. Now, the word here for cold is size, right here. It says suko, but it's, psycho, right? Players.
Strong's G 5594. Psucho.
Suko,
Psucho.
which psycho, right? I mean, that's how you spell it. But here it says a metaphor of waning in love. Like people ain't got no hope, they ain't got no love, no hope. All right, in this world, because a lot of people finding out that it's corruption, the powers that be are utterly corrupt, in the way that people move and interact in their character. They're very toxic, very violent, very uh, self-centered. You know, Scriptures talk about in the last days they shall be lovers of themselves. Nobody looking out for the next person. You know, I mean you do have it in very very small pockets. It's very rare. You know. But people are starting to become more cold, waning in love, right? We'll go a little bit more into it. It says voluntarily but gently, thus differing on the one hand from which denotes properly forcible respiration. Let's see here. Come on now. Reduction. Okay. Let's ask chat. Let's dig a little bit. All right. Let's ask it. What is the meaning or What is an in-depth meaning of wax? Oops. Right, so figurative standpoint, figurative uses, emotional tone growing colder and feeling or warm. Example given a relationship waxing cold means affection or friendliness is decreasing. And the scripture said you're gonna have friends fighting among friends. Okay? You're gonna have friends fighting among friends. Okay, I believe that's 2nd Ezra 5, if I'm not mistaken. So it's gonna get that bad. But as we can see, you know, there's actually more burning of buildings or storefronts. Let's see here. Here. Okay, because you had this guy and what he said, right? But then you got other events. Salakia. Where am I at? Well, let me read this precept. All right, 2nd Ezra 5, and okay, I'll start at 2. I'm trying to get straight to the point I want. You know what? Let's see. Salakia. Let me go ahead and see if I can. Let's see if it comes up. Yeah, Salakia. I know it took a while to get to it. 2nd Ezra 6 and 24 says, and at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. Okay, and those are the times we're coming into. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Okay, and scarcity. Okay, so it's going to be scarcity, and people are going to be desperate, and people are going to turn on one another, and that's just another aspect of how how messed up this place is going to get. All right, so you have another warehouse beside the one in California. All right, outside of specific recent incidents outside of California, and this one came up, Ontario Mills. But I had information that there are multiple warehouses. Okay, multiple warehouses and some storefronts. Okay, so Ontario Mills Mall, California, closely related to the warehouse fires. Multiple intentional fires were set inside this busy shopping mall on April 10, 2026. A suspect was taken into custody, and though officials haven't linked it to the Kimberly Clark arson, it contributed to a localized cluster of deliberate burning. See, so it's somewhat becoming a trend. All right, you know, but again, it ain't. It's gradually people are going to start becoming more and more, cold. So going back here, all right, we can read this one. I know I had another one, but it says the phrase wax cold refers to a state where love or affection diminishes significantly, often due to increasing wickedness or lawlessness in the world. Right. And at the very top, the leaders are lawless, they're very lawless. And how much more the people, you know? This concept is notably mentioned in the Bible, specifically Matthew 24:12, which warns that many people's love will grow cold as evil increases. So, and evil is only going to increase. And, these Babylonians, they already have the every man for themselves, pretty much mindset. Okay. Going back here, I'll do figurative uses and do behavior. Well, I'll start here because I read the emotional tone, atmosphere, mood, and environment or scene becoming more bleak, distant, or unwelcoming. And you're gonna see that a lot in places. A lot more places gonna become more unwelcoming, you know. And that's why, we don't advocate and, going out and doing all sorts of things like that. It's gonna come a time where it's just you're not gonna want to do it because of how violent people are gonna be, you know. So behavior, attitude, someone becoming more distant, because yeah, these people are gonna feel the sorrows, and they're gonna lament more. They're gonna be people just gonna be in a cold spirit more and more and more as things get worse. So someone becoming more distant, reserved, or hostile over time. And these people that don't understand what's going on, these freeloaders and people that just, they just care about the convenience of life, the ones that's complaining about high gas prices and I gotta work, I gotta feed my family and all that, they're gonna be the ones that's, you know, becoming more hostile. All right. So, right. I mean, yeah. And you get the gist on that. Okay. And that's why we're told, Ecclesiasticus 5:15, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small, you know, because the smallest matters, of course, a little leaven the whole lump, you know, a little, a little fire, a little piece of paper burning can burn down a whole warehouse. And that's likened unto this whole place, And the Lord said he was going to send fanners to Babylon, okay? Which is going to make this place a little bit more chaotic. So you had another thing that took place. A sheriff killed serving eviction notice. Okay, the man who killed a deputy serving an eviction notice was run over. They had to run him over. Okay, so let's do this one. And this was all in California 3 days ago. Man who killed a deputy serving a eviction notice was run over. So, a man fatally shot a Central California sheriff's deputy Thursday morning as he was being served an eviction notice, prompting a standoff that ended with authorities fatally running him over with a vehicle after he fled the home. Tulare County deputies were serving the notice to a 60-year-old man in Porterville when he opened fire on them, the sheriff's department said. Porterville is about 150 miles northeast of Los Angeles in the state's Central Valley. The man barricaded himself inside the home with a rifle for several hours. At one point, authorities deployed gas into the home as the man continued to fire at law enforcement. The standoff ended around 6 p.m. when the man left the home and moved through the yards of nearby homes. Sheriff Mike, I think, I don't know the last name. I ain't finna try to pronounce it. Said at an evening news conference. Okay, apparently he unalived a deputy. So that alone just show you the volatile nature of these people. Um, I'm gonna end it on this one. All right, 2 Timothy 3:1. It says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come." Okay, and by perilous it means very difficult times or dangerous times. You should know this. 2 Timothy 3:1 in NLT. Timothy, that in the last days that there will be very difficult times. Okay, and we live in those times. Because the end of the world, all right, in the last day has been, since the Lord had, ascended. Those were the last days, and how much more now? Okay, so yeah, be on the lookout, be watchful, and as Ephesians 5:15 says, be circumspect. Because there's going to be a lot more violence, isolated events, and that's why we have our head on the swivel. Okay, and then apart from that, you got Esau doing what he's doing, accelerating events. So it's definitely you got to be very watchful. Okay, agents and all of that type of stuff. We in those times. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.